Right, welcome back for our second match of the week here for week 3. We have Nick L here up against. Is he still the con of Marty over there? Nolan.
Damn right he is.
Yeah. So we got a reigning con in action right before our eyes. What's he got going on in his hand here?
So he's got this Kish in the village. The rest of his hand looks to be an Abzan deck. So he has a Swamp Two Plains. He's got an Abzan devotee, a traveling botanist, and then this is fun. He has a Bloomvine Regent, and then he has both Skirmish Rhino and Siege Rhino.
Okay, Rhino Tribal, pretty scary potentially. Nick did say he thought Nolan was going to be on blue when we were chatting before, but I guess he is not. Um, so in hand for Nick, we got a plains, we got an armament dragon. He's got Storm the Seed Core, which sorcery that puts distributes 4 counters. Yeah,
And it gives Vigilance and Trample as well, right?
yeah. So with a lack of nothing better to do, he could just make a gigantic creature here. Next turn he can play the armament dragon, but for now he can just play a 6/5.
I mean, it seems good too. You get to draw a card of the heirloom.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Nolan doesn't really have like interaction for this. He might just have to end up blocking it with a couple of creatures. But if you mention there's an Ornament Dragon coming down next turn, then he might be uh, in some deeper trouble.
And he did draw a card that will most likely be of some use, which is the Salt Road Pack Beast.
Oh, your boy.
Yep, he's here. All right, so yeah, rhinos. But it's funny that as good as Siege. Oh, he's even got to release the rhinos. Look at that. Run over
It's
by
like
rhino.
it's a take your kid to work day.
Yeah, it's like
Siege
the
Rhinos brought the
rhinos
Skirmish
attack.
Rhino.
Yeah, it's funny because as good as Siege Rhino was in Kanzatake, like Skirmish Rhino is not doing it for me at least in this set.
Yeah, I mean it's just in the wrong spot in the set because it feels like you want to either be like really aggressive or really controlly and like slow the game down, and this card kind of doesn't really do either.
I mean, it's pretty aggressive, I would say, but it's just the shell doesn't really make it great. Like your aggressive deck is not often going to be able to cast a 3 color card on turn 3.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of like small game in this set, which is kind of wild because you look at it, you're like, wow, this card's really good. It just ended up being a bit of a small game, and everything is small game compared to the creatures on Nick's side here.
so Nolan did draw a Dragon Spray, so he couldn't hit the Ornament Dragon with it this turn, so he didn't have a land drop. But he will be able to answer it next turn with
Yeah,
the Dragon Spray costing two
I mean,
more.
in the meantime, Nick gets 5 damage and a card, so he'll be okay with it going away, I think, or at least he'll have something to show for it.
Yeah.
And he's drawn a Bearer of Glory, so he gets to play that and his pack beast here. Yeah, Erd Heirloom. I haven't played very much with the card, but whenever I see it, it seems to be good.
I did watch a match last night where Joaquin made really great use of it by just playing like a 4 drop on turn 3 and then just like synchronized charging it twice.
Okay, as long as your opponent does have a removal, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I do know that the only time I supposedly played it, I tried to cast a Corey Steelcutter with it, but
Unfortunately, you can't do that.
it's all just rumors and hearsay. No, there's
Yeah.
no proof that this occurred. All
I've
right,
also heard you tried to scavenge your Carsey Revenant.
I would never. Uh, yeah, so Nolan says I've had quite enough of this Erd Heirloom, but the Erd Heirloom drew him 2 cards, so he's not too sad. Unfortunately, all he's got to show here are lands.
Okay. Uh, Nolan's just hanging onto the Bloomvine Regent still,
Okay.
um, which is good. It can't really interact with the Ornament Dragon, but you're not mad to play it.
I mean, this is
But
a
he's also
pretty
got this.
safe double block here.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nolan's probably thinking if Nick's got any sort of interaction that there's like he's taking 3 damage.
He's not
At
losing
worst.
much in this exchange, though.
Right.
Nolan. Like, he's
Okay.
not losing valuable game pieces here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at least the devotee you can get back. Simsync Appraiser off the
Yeah,
top's
he
nice.
can't get. I don't believe he can get it back and cast it in the same turn at this current juncture, but. Alright. Yeah, Simsync Appraiser. Just, I mean, at the beginning of the set, we knew this card was going to be good, and it's as good as everybody thought it is.
It is as good as advertised. I do love me a good Simsync Appraiser. So I guess Nick wasn't wrong after all that Nolan does have some blue in there, but he did look like a straight Abzan deck for a little while.
He's all over the map here. We got an Elspeth off the top. That's going to be a problem. We could say.
I mean, Nolan, so he drew for turn and Awaken the Honored Dead, so he actually does have an answer to it, but
Oh,
it is going to make a little bit of value before it dies.
that is exceptionally unlucky for for Nick to have his Planeswalker
Yeah.
answered immediately.
I mean, it was Nolan's choices for the Simsig were a Smile at Death, which you see in the graveyard, and an Awaken the Honored Dead.
So what's interesting here is Nick can just. I think he's thinking about holding on to his Elspeth because the 0 is going to be lethal next turn.
Okay.
With just
in that case,
creatures.
Nolan will probably just Awaken the Honored Dead the Dragon, in which case he won't have an answer. Oh well, there it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that plays like a little wild to like just hold on to it and do nothing and just hope to win the next turn with it. I was weighing his options of what he wants to do with the Elspeth, which I think he just want to make the tokens.
Yeah, I mean, the 0's nice, but you can also just 0 next turn and it's still lethal, so you just make the tokens here, probably. Unless you want to kill the Rhino, which is not unreasonable.
Yeah, it leaves the Elspeth in pretty bad shape, though.
Yeah.
At least here, the Elspeth is in okay shape until it gets destroyed.
I mean, yeah, the Awaken the Honored Dead has to come down this turn and just answer it. There's kind of no two ways around that.
Yeah, like whenever something like this happens, like, oh, I draw my Planeswalker, that there's like not very many answers to the set, and then my opponent has the answer, I always feel indignant, but it's like my opponent should feel indignant, like, they played a Planeswalker, what the heck? But I feel indignant, like they
Right.
had, of course, they had the answer to my Planeswalker. It's like, well, you had the Planeswalker. Like, all right.
Okay, so
he's
I guess he's
appropriate blocks to keep his Elspeth alive here.
Yeah, I mean, so Nolan gets to just like clean up the 1/1s a bit, but I'm curious actually. He might hit the dragon now. Yeah, he is going for the dragon. Okay.
I mean, War of the Spark taught me a lot about Planeswalkers, which is you don't want to use your removal on the Planeswalker. You want to use your removal on creatures and then attack the Planeswalker.
Well, yeah, I mean that's right for 90% of them.
Oh, normally a Duskian Earth Carver off the top is just okay, but it's going to be more than okay here.
Oh, you got to make 2 3/3s. Ugh. Man, I wonder what would happen though if Nolan had a Vorinclex Voice of Hunger.
I'm not wondering that whatsoever because we still don't know the answer. Well, so what happened? People tested it on Arena, I think.
Yeah, so people tested it on Arena and it worked like, you could stack the replacement effects, and then Steve confirmed it with some judge Discord.
Yeah, so I can tell you a very valuable story that I learned when I was at a GP. It was for Wilds of Eldraine Limited. My opponent cast the card Forever Young, which is like put as many creatures on top of your deck from your graveyard, then draw a card.
Yep.
And I pulled over a judge, and I said, "Hey, my opponent did not show me the order in which they put the cards on top of their deck." And the judge was like, well, they don't have to. And then I said, well, on Arena, it shows you the order that they put it in. And the judge turned to me and said, Arena is wrong. And walked away. I learned a very valuable
uh,
lesson that sometimes Arena
yeah.
does not actually know how a spell is supposed to resolve. And
I mean, that is.
the reason why we went on this little tangent was just because the Elspeth ultimate here is gonna do in Nolan.
There's not much to say.
Yeah. So I learned a valuable lesson that sometimes Arena is wrong. And then like I think like on the like whenever the next patch was on Arena, it got fixed for that card Forever Young, because you don't
Yeah.
actually you get to see which creatures they chose, but you don't actually get to choose. Oh, you don't see the order.
Right.
So interesting. The one thing I noticed right away it's is that Nick's like not playing some of his dual lands, which is kind of strange.
Huh.
Like he has an opulent palace and a Savai Triome that he could be playing for
Yeah.
his
How many tap plants are in his deck right now?
just three.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like, he's not running like 12 and wants to minimize how many tap lands he has.
Yeah, and he's very much a green white deck. He has like 4 or 5 black cards. So interesting that he's opting to go for less tap lands here. Maybe he has so many twos and threes that maybe he just wants to. But putting in 2 extra tap lands in your mana base of 24 or 25 lands is not that big a deal.
Yeah,
It just
and,
makes your mana fixing that much better. Especially because they both
especially
fix for his black, which is his splash color.
and you can cyclotron too. Yeah, Nolan looks to be like, I don't even know I could call a color a splash. It looked to be like pretty, like heavily green, but the other three colors were pretty evenly distributed.
I mean, that's like kind of where my deck is at right now in League. It's just like nothing's really a splash. Either everything's a splash or nothing's a splash. But like the fixing is just so good that you get to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Uh,
the power and the power level is so high and the fixing is so abundant that it's like rarely wrong. But unfortunately, he's going to 5 here. So what's he working with?
yeah, he had 0 land and then 1 land. So what he's kept is a backwater, Tranquil Cove. He has a forest. He just drew Terramorphic Expanse, and his only non-land cards are a Piercing Exhale and a Lasted Prowler.
Okay, that might be a tough go here. Nick's hand is not like lighting the world on fire. He has a Sagu Pummeler, a Grapple with the Past, and 4 lands. So he has a 3/1 here, but other than that, he doesn't have a play for next turn, aside from Grapple with the Past.
Yeah, so Nolan's just going to grab his second green source here so he can play his Lasted Prowler next turn.
All right,
He did draw
Savage Punch off the top here.
Savage Punch. Yeah, I don't want to get that one confused with Savage Smash, but Savage Punch is not a red card.
Nope. I just think fight spells are just real bad in 2025.
Yeah, especially when your opponent plays 4 mana 5/5.
Like we were supremely happy to play Savage Punches back in the olden days of Cones of Tarkir, which is like more than 10 years ago now, which frightens me. But yeah, nowadays we're just so used to premium bite spells that the Savage Punch just like. I'll be honest, I'm surprised to see it in a deck in week 3 actually, but Nick's doing pretty okay this league, so. I think I saw he's 8-6, so he's doing okay. It's not the Savage Punch must have served him decently well.
Yeah, I mean so it will. It depends on what Nolan does, but if he taps out, the Savage Punch will be able to catch the Lasted Prowler. Unfortunately, his Prowler did mill him 4 non-land cards, one of which was the Bloomvine Regent.
Ooh, okay.
So he's drawn a Skirmish Rhino since then. Okay, he's actually just going to go ahead and Piercing Excel this now.
Yeah, I mean, if he waited, he might have been able to get some value, but Nick likely wouldn't Savage Punch into all the open mana either, so.
I'm probably worried about Snakeskin Veil, too.
All right, so we got some good cards at hand here. We got the Savage Punch, we got the Pack Beast that came back from the graveyard, Fortress Kidguard, and Anafenza,
Okay.
Unyielding Lineage, and a Plains.
Nolan's only card in hand is the Skirmish Rhino. It seems to have been orphaned from the previous game. Lost its parent. I'm sure Nolan wouldn't mind seeing his Siege Runner off the top, but for now it's
Yeah,
alone.
I'm sure he would probably like to see something even more powerful than that if he can, but he'll settle.
Yeah, I did see him rank River Regent when he was sideboarding, and he does have the mana to cast it.
That's a good
He just
one.
drew a forest. So I'm sure that would be a welcome draw.
Yeah, so this leaving up mana here is fairly ominous because he has a card he could have cast.
Yeah, revealed card, right? The Pack Beasts.
Yeah, so you're always like, yeah, something's up. Okay, he's gonna double block here, and he figures, well, I'll get 2 triggers from Anafenza, so what the heck?
Yeah, I mean, it seems reasonable.
So like, even if
You
this
trade
goes
your
wrong, he still gets at least 1 trigger from Anafenza.
Yeah, you trade, your opponent's 5/5 for your junk, and then you to replace your junk with more junk, and that 3/1 could come back from the graveyard anyway. So seems good to me.
Interesting choice here now, whether he wants to build up the Anafenza or just go wide here. I feel like building up the Ana. Yeah, I feel like this is a nice spot to be in.
Yeah. So he can pop counter on the Skirmish Rhino. Okay, opting to go for the Formation
Yeah, well,
Breaker.
it's really like putting
Regard,
2 counters on it, right?
yeah, I would have maybe gone for the Skirmish Rhino just so I can have a potential block in an Defensa. I mean, we know the Savage Punch is there anyway, but
Yeah, well, the one place where fight spells are good is with a giant first strike creature.
yeah. Well, fight doesn't work in like first strike
Well,
doesn't work in fight, but it does mean you can't die in
yeah,
combat when you swing.
yeah. Normally, if you fight your large creature against like a smaller creature, then if your opponent can still block it with like a smaller creature,
You just can't swing. Yeah,
yeah, like you basically can't really attack. But there's going to be a pretty hefty attack coming here now.
yeah. I mean, Nolan gets to surveil 2 on his step, but he's got to find something good here.
Yeah, I mean he's taking
He's
10
pretty
in the
far behind.
meantime, right?
Yeah. If there's ever a time for Meringue River Regents now.
Yeah, this is a pretty rare, like I would say, like pretty aggressive. Like Nick's deck was a bit slow in the first game, but like looking at his deck in sideboarding, it's an aggressive deck. It's white green
Okay.
base. He's playing the Abzan Saga. He's playing the 2 Armament Dragons. I think he had 1 or 2 other black cards. So he's really focused green white, which is not really a supported 2 color pair. He's just playing a bunch of creatures and some interactions, and he's. I mean, it's working.
Yeah, and you could definitely catch some of the slower decks off guard with that.
Okay, that's not a bad card to find.
Yeah, I mean, it gets you another blocker. I guess if you
Anything
take the
good in
Fortress
there? I
King
mean,
Guard, you get.
he could get the kin guard that makes two bodies.
Yeah, that looks like his plan. Just bombing out some stuff, give him some time to hopefully draw out of this.
I mean, attack all. Can't really go wrong. Especially when you know your opponent has no cards in hand.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
seems
yeah,
reasonable.
this is like yeah, he is gonna get to make another token out of this, and he has the 3/1 to play. So unless Nolan has something that can wipe the board here, it's gonna be a rough one. Because now we
No,
got
Dune Blast
4
and
lethal threats in play versus 2 blockers.
yeah,
So
and a
we might.
planes off the top will not do it.
I think you had to surveil on your upkeep there.
But even then, you just don't have the mana to cast anything. You surveil.
Yeah, I mean, you never know what you might find, but definitely main phase surveil won't do it here. So Nick gets the win here. So congratulations to the Jess guy taking down the Conor Mardu here in week 3. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you back in a little bit.